Welcome back to another painting tutorial. This time I'm going to show you Space Wolf's Logan Grimnar, one of the HQ choices in the Codex. Here's what he's going to look like when he's all done. It's a pretty cool choice in that he allows you to take some extra Terminators and yeah, some special rules with him make him a nice choice. So it's an older model, but still a good one. Okay, so what I started out here, Logan's a bit hidden there, but I did him sort of at the same time as Nigel or Bob, if you're watching 40K Rejects. And what I did is I spray painted everything black and gave it a coat of Midnight Blue from Reaper. That's a very dark navy blue. And on top of that, what I'm going to be doing is kind of doing dry brushes and then filling them in a bit with these each of these colors here. So these three here are Triad, and then Ghost White is sort of a blue off-white. And what you can see here is I'm just kind of building up the colors on each of the layers here. I also did another video on Space Wolf Terminators. You can see that. It's a slightly different technique, but same overall outcome. So I'm actually just dry brushing over top of everything here, progressively working my way through each of these colors. And you can see it kind of starts blowing out the highlights here with my camera, but you'll get to see this lots later. And I'm trying to paint on a little bit here. Sometimes it's hard to dry brush in those areas and get nice even colors, so I'm kind of filling in the flat areas. And as you can see, it ends up being quite bright on the edges and really deep color in the shadows. So this is actually a fairly quick process. It doesn't take too long. And as well, you can notice here on the base, I've done some. This is acrylic gel medium, so it's just kind of a goopy sort of stuff that dries clear actually, but it's all been spray painted. And there's a skull here that comes with the Logan, and a little bit of slate from the Warhammer Basing Kit. Okay, so now I'm working on this wolf pelt here, and I'm using the same basic colors as all of the wolf pelts I've done. So I'm starting off with a scorched brown, and then kind of doing targeted dry brushing / overbrushing towards the edges. So I want the edges to be the lightest, and I want the center areas of it all to be a darker color. And so I'm working my way up here. This is bubonic brown you're starting to see here. And you can see sort of the center area of the cloak is almost all scorched brown, and working my way towards the edges with each progressive highlight. There you can see it a bit better. You can see the darkest area in here, and kind of focusing the dry brushing towards the edges. And let's see, getting closer. I also used a little bit of Devlin mud to go back and bring down some of the shaded areas. And then bleached bone just on the edges, just around the outside of things, sort of to give it a natural kind of a look. Okay, you can see here some of that's tin bits. Don't really focus much on the gold on this model, but tin bits for the base areas that are going to be gold, and then working up dwarf bronze and burnished gold edge highlights. And what I'm showing here really is this corner here, so a little star type of a thing. And this whole shoulder pad is painted black. So just a freehand star, kind of drawing lines in each of the directions and then trying to fill them in a little bit using a really fine brush. Watered down paints in a couple layers. This one here is in a yellow sort of a color. So you kind of do it in a couple strokes, and then if you need to touch it up, you can go back in with the black and try to get the edges a little bit sharper. Okay, so now the next thing I did is I base coated all the other colors. So any of the stones, so the Crux Terminus and some of the rune stones you'll see on his back, that's this shadowed stone Triad from Reaper. So it's just a slightly brownish tinge to the grays, whereas this here is a pure gray Triad, and that's for his beard. The leather areas, so underneath here, as well as some of these straps, that's this leather brown, tanned leather, amber gold Triad. And so basically you paint everything the darkest color, you paint the flat surfaces the medium one, and then just the edges the highest one. And that, I find that works quite well. And same deal here with these bones. So that's all these little teeth and little bone bits here and there, teeth on that wolf pelt. And also here, this yellow is just, I think it's Idian Dark Sun. It's either that or Taos Ochre, which doesn't help you much. For the yellows, what I do is I base coat it the darker of the two foundations, give it a Griffin Sepia wash, and then do that base color again, and then do a little edge highlights with the lighter yellow, and mix a bit of bleach bone just to do the really sharp edges, and that I find works quite well. Okay, so there you can see those ruined stones. There we go in the back there. Some little bones there, and that's that leather color. Okay, so you can start seeing a bit of the detail there. Yeah, lots of gold bits in the middle here. These claws are going to get that bone. I think I missed it the first round. Okay. And now I'm going back with some more freehanding here, so that's just a bit of pure white, and drawing this kind of a griffin type of a character on his shoulder. So again, just water down the paint, doing a couple passes. So the first time it'll be semi-transparent, and you work your way up, and then anything you need to correct, you just do a little bit of black paint just to bring it sharper in there. So if you look right at the edges, some of the areas are a little bit transparent. Other areas aren't. So from a distance, it looks a lot better than it does up close. And that little eye there was painted on after with black. Okay, so the highlights there are done on the beard and his hair. And let's see what else we're working on here. Well, I don't think I mentioned it. Any of the silver metal areas, that's just bolt gun metal, bada black, and then a bit of chainmail highlight, GW colors, of course. And so I'm working on some of those bone colors there, and I got all these claws done. If you can, it's nice to do all the same color at once. I find it's a lot easier. The model goes faster. So that's why I try to base coat everything. Well, in this model, I base coated everything after doing all of the base armor and that pelt. So I base coated everything. That way I made sure I covered all the areas of the model, and I wouldn't have to go back and do a little bit of bone that I had missed. And there's that stone triad on that crux terminus. And okay, so now I'm working on some of the flesh here. So that's just a Teleran flesh base coat, some Ogren flesh wash, and elf flesh for the edge highlights. And you can see here, I've got this highlighted now. There's those dwarf flesh there, helps mix in there, and if you need to do a little bit more edge highlights, you can add a bit of bleached bone in there. There's also some great triads for Reaper, and they go right through the whole range. That's helpful as well. There wasn't much flesh in this guy, so I just did it pretty fast. Okay, and then the one thing I did later is this power axe here, and that's just this true blue triad, and working up the edges a little bit of white there. I think the other thing that I didn't show was these gemstones, and that's just scab red, a little bit of blood red, blaze orange, and then little white dots on them. Okay, so let's walk around the model here, the different views. Oh, and I think, you know what, I went back and I fixed that gem there that I had missed. So a nice dynamic pose on this, even though it's an older model. Still looks great on the tabletop, and unlocks some cool troop choices. Drawing a blank as to what those are right now, but I'm sure somebody will add a comment below. And great expression on his face there. And that freehand detail on the shoulder pad. And this matches up nicely with the new plastic Terminators that you can get. And there's that little skull on his base. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and check my channel for other ones, or check my blog for other work in progress shots. See you next time.